it seems like Meltdown could be 9A. It seems like it
Hmm.
could maybe have been harder. And what do you think about that? Like, was there pressure to grade it 14C, or did you just not know? Like, was there just no way to compare? I mean, it's such a hard conversation when people put up cutting edge routes because it's just the opinion of one or maybe a couple of people.
Yeah, no, it's been honestly something that I've been thinking about more than I thought I would think about. But there was no pressure to rate it 14C. Um, so that was back in 2008. I don't think an American woman had climbed 9A, 14D. Um, so for Meltdown, I knew or I felt like it was the hardest climb I had ever done. And so the hardest climb I had ever done before that was also a first descent that I did, the Optimist up at Smith,
Yeah.
and I think it's been repeated once by Sunny, like just a couple years after I did it. Um, and so again, I was like, well, I don't know, right? So I was like, it felt harder than the Optimist for me, and I knew that it was probably kind of hard because Tommy thought it was hard, and that was just like this privilege that I had being married to Tommy is,
Right.
he was kind of a good gauge for things because he had climbed a lot more hard routes than I had. But was I gonna ever say it was 9A? Did I ever think I could do something that was 9A? No. I was like, I can't climb 9A. I know people who can, and that's not me.
Hmm.
Um, and my only gauge is for other routes that I had done or I had tried. For me, and I talk a lot about this in the book, it was a lot harder than Magic Line. Magic Line, I was placing the gear on lead on Magic Line, but I was still just using the 14B rating that Ron had given it. So it's really hard. It's like super subjective, and people that have now done Meltdown have said that they thought it was 9A. And honestly, like, I want to be like, I'm above all grades and all that sort of thing, but I still have like an ego. And so I'm like, oh, that'd be nice if it was 9A. Would it change my life? No. I'd be like, it'd be cool, but is it going to change my life? No. If somebody downgraded it to 14B or 14A, I'd be like, oh, they probably found a better way, Then first descents are really hard because you can get tunnel vision and that type of thing. So I feel like
Right.
grades are like super subjective. Um, so I don't know. Yeah, would it be nice if it was 9A? Sure. It's fine if it's 8C plus. It's fine if it's 8C. Like, I don't know. I don't. I'm clearly not climbing that level right now and anymore. So I can't be like, well, I just climbed it again, and then I climbed these other
Right.
5 14Cs. So I can say with certainty that it's. I'm just like, I'm not going to be able to be the authority on that.
I'm giving it 9A, and I know that means absolutely nothing, but God, just what a cutting edge thing that you did there. All right, y'all, just a quick shout out here for today's sponsor, which is Petzl. And if you have seen me climbing on my project, you have seen me climbing in my Harundos harness, which I absolutely love. The fuse frame technology that Petzl uses makes it ultra light and comfy. I'm also using their draws, which are incredible. They're so easy to clip, and they're rated and trusted to more than 100,000 falls. I always feel safe when I'm climbing on Petzl gear, and that's super important because it helps me to eliminate fear so that I can focus on the climbing and making limit moves. And if you check out their athlete team, which includes Alex Magos, Michaela Kirsch, Kai Leitner, Margot Hayes, and so many other incredible crushers, it just shows how fantastic Petzl is. You can check out all that Petzl has to offer at your local gear shop or by hitting that link below to access the inaccessible. All right, let's get back to this interview. What stands out is maybe the thing that unlocked Meltdown, one of the hardest at the time, the hardest trad climb in the world. It's still one of the hardest trad climbs in the world, and with almost a handful of repeats. It's you know one of the most cutting edge climbs ever done, and you were just like on your own out there. So what is it? I'm sure there was many things that unlocked it, but what stands out as maybe the pivotal tactic or moment that really put it together?
Gosh, I don't know if there was like a moment that put it together, but I feel like I'm a pretty stubborn person, which I think is a blessing and a curse, you know? And so if I even think there's like the slightest possibility that it's possible, then I'll just keep pounding my head against the wall. And, you know, I started on Meltdown on a lot of hard projects, and it's like you can only do a fraction of the moves, but you're like, well, maybe one day if I got stronger or if I figured out this part of the puzzle or whatnot, you could do it. And so, yeah, I feel like just even having the possibility of, you know, it might go, that's kind of like what always kind of keeps me going. Even today, you know, if it's like, it's not something cutting edge, you know, but I'm like, oh, maybe if I practiced, or maybe if I figured out something here. And that's what I really like. I mean, I really love the problem solving aspect of climbing. I think it's one of the coolest things because it's not just this like purely physical pursuit. You know, there's a lot else that goes into it, at least for me, and I really like that part of it. I mean, this is gonna sound all woo-woo and like I have it all figured out, which I definitely don't have it figured out. But I'm just like, I'm most proud that, and who knows, this could totally change. I still have really spectacular low moments when I'm injured and can't climb. But to be able to like really find my joy again in climbing after so many injuries, where I feel like I saw so many of my peers just stop climbing, which I totally understand why they did. So I don't know. I'm most proud of just being able to really try and love climbing for climbing again, I guess.
All right, let's keep moving here. Try and get through a few more of these questions before we sign off. Stacy says, I'm a sport climber with big wall dreams. I'm more interested in long adventures than pushing my limits of finger strength, but I'm not sure how to break into that kind of climbing. Any tips?
Gosh, that's a good one. I don't want to tout like guides and clinics and say that's the only way to learn, but gosh, I really think that's a good way to learn. I mean, obviously people learn without guides and clinics all the time. You know, they go out and they just do trial and error, or they have a slightly stronger and more knowledgeable partner that has done it before, or there's books about it. But like if I had the financial ability and I wanted to make the leap from sport climbing to trad climbing to big wall, I would probably try and take some clinics by people or hire a guide and do it that way. Because I know for me, I'm just also like I learn really well by like watching somebody do something and then like trying to repeat it there, and not just like some abstract picture in a book and then trying to recreate it in a slightly different scenario on the wall. So that's just how I learn. If I didn't have the means, then I would just be like, try to be super choosy and careful with partners and like, you know, go to Camp 4 and see if somebody wants to start from scratch with you.